Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today, as usual, once again to give you guys Hunter x Hunter chapter reviews. This is going to be Hunter x Hunter chapter 347, Inauguration. Now, I do want to say, off the gate, is that this chapter solely focuses on what's going on with Jin Freaks, Pariston, that party. And to me, that was pretty refreshing. Like, after you're working out on a hot summer day, a bottle of water, very refreshing. And the reason why I say that is because when you have multiple things going on, and some of them may seem convoluted, it can be somewhat exhausting. Because you have to take into account what happened here, and then have to go deeper into the meaning of the context within that certain part, and then you need to do that for multiple parts in one chapter. And that's how Hunter x Hunter normally operates. But since we only focus on this one part, it made things a lot easier to understand, to grasp as a whole. Because I have been getting PMs about how people, when Hunter x Hunter came back, people were very surprised as to way the chapters were progressing, where it would be a lot of dialogue and people just got lost in it. And for them, if they're still following, this chapter is probably a lot easier than most of the chapters. So, and plus, the first few pages, like pages 1 through 9, are action. So again, it's, for me, it's not complicated, but it is tedious to a certain degree. But overall, I still love it. It's not changing. I mean, I actually enjoy these types of chapters more so than action-based chapters, as long as the dialogue is relevant and important to the overall story. Now, moving on. When it comes to this chapter, so let me start with, because Jin's stuff is pretty cool, like what he does at the beginning, but it's really simple. I want to go more towards the middle and the end, where we actually get context into Jin's character. And the thing here about Jin's character, and he's explaining to, I think last chapter he was called Mueller, but now he's called Muhel, whatever his name is. Like this guy with like the elf ears, Legolas over here. Legolas, yeah. Arrows, yeah. Legolas. The point here is that we find out that Jin, he talks before he thinks. Like, he'll say things, and when he thinks about it, he would always be like, why would I say that? Or like, why would I do that? And a lot of times, he gets himself in, let's say, sticky situations. Yeah, why not? Yeah. So a lot of times, he gets stuck in these sticky situations because he's always talking and he's acting before he actually thinks about his actions and how his actions are going to affect those around him and those who he can't necessarily perceive to affect. So, point here is that it's some insight into Jin's character, where Jin, I mean, he's still intelligent, don't get me wrong, alright? This guy knows the ancient language like the back of his hand. But when it comes to Jin and the way he presents himself, or I should say, okay, it's not more so the way he presents himself, but it's more so how other people perceive Jin. And they perceive him to be this guy who always has a plot afoot. And this was kind of, if you watch in the anime, it's something that Cheadle kind of pointed out when it came to Jin and Pariston. And it's something that's reaffirmed in this chapter. And there's a quote by one of the characters there. I forgot his name. His name is, okay, so I'm going to read you a quote verbatim. Marshall. Okay, so one of the guys is Marshall. He explains about, he talks about Jin, and he says, and I quote, this is on page 17 on Manga Street. He says this: I had a chance when he and Pariston were arguing. My first impression was that Jin kept this air about him of always stirring up trouble, and that he was a dangerous person. That's what his initial impression is. Like, he's always plotting shit. But in actuality, no. Jin is massively off the cuff. He'll just say things, and he'll be like, oh, you know what? I probably shouldn't have said that, but I said it, so I'll just go with it, you know? So, like, that's the way Jin rolls. So, that's actually very similar to Gon. It really is, because Gon does the same thing on occasion. Like, he'll just do, or no, well, okay, fine. I guess it's like Gon, but in Gon's case, would it be the reverse? Where, well, no, not the reverse per se, but it's still action. Like, Jin will talk about it, then think about it. Gon will do it, then think about it. Like, Gon is a doer. Alright, Jin's a talker, Gon's a doer. Gon will just do shit. Then he'll be, oh, okay, wait, hold on. So let me just bring it back. And you'll think about it then. So, there's a difference there. But it's almost the same as the sun. Almost the same. Almost. Not quite. So, that was fascinating. Just to get an idea about Jin's personality. And that actually does help us in regards of his character development. And of course, we get to see character development for Mueller. I don't know whatever you want. I'm calling Mueller. Okay, I'm calling Mueller because it sounds better. Muhel. I don't know. So Mueller. All right, Legolas. We get to find out more about him and his boys. He is. I don't know what he is rank wise, but he's military army base. Okay, I'm pretty sure he's like a major or a lieutenant, or I don't know. It's not said in the chapter. But he has some ranking in the army. And which army specifically, I don't know. But the point here is that when it came to the soldiers that attacked Jin, when it came to the soldiers that attacked Jin, and there was another person who was inside of this weaponized, like, humanoid suit, like this guy called the Golem, and apparently Mueller himself has never seen this guy, never heard his real voice, doesn't know what his real name is, but apparently, like, this guy in the giant robot suit who can make this weaponized attachment out of Nen, and then a person with I think it's what's the name category? Emissions. Like, the ones who can attack long range, they can sit in the cockpit of this Nen attachment, and they can fire Nen bullets. And the point here is that this guy, along with the other guys, along with the other soldiers there in this particular group, they are a part of this group or legendary team known as Stonewall, I believe is the term. Yeah, I think it's Stonewall, where they escaped this civil war in a country called Lube, or Lubu. Lubu. If you know what Lubu is, Lubu. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right, though. I gotta make sure I got that right on the money. So I'm gonna go back. Okay. Lubo. Okay, fine. Lubo. So apparently Golem, Lubo, and so he's gonna join with their party as well and assist them. So basically, when it comes to the soldiers, it looks like the majority of the remaining guys that we haven't seen yet are soldiers. And the biggest problem here when it came to the soldiers was the money. And Mueller says himself, I would have joined. I would have been A-okay if you want to be number 2. Because he has no real ties to Pariston. And apparently Jin already knew Mueller, like, already. Like, they were already, either they worked together in a mission or they just hadn't passed by, whatever. They know each other. But the point here is that when it came to the money, that was the main issue. That was the main issue. Because, and this makes sense when you think about it. It's a perspective that I never thought about, because I never would think that Togashi would actually implement this in his story, but he did. Where there's a sense of pride when it comes to soldiers, and there's a sense of trust. And that's the main thing here. And when it comes to other soldiers or other army units that reside within the human world, if they get word that these guys, alright, this Stonewall group, if they are getting paid by an outside source that they like maybe they don't know it's Jin, but they know that they're getting money, other groups aren't going to trust them. And there were soldiers who are part of this current group who actually considered opting out because there was money involved. And that's something I think is fascinating, where in this particular sense, the trust of the soldiers between each other greatly supersedes the money involved. And when it came to Jin, he assumed that when it came to these guys here, they weren't people who were going to be dazzled by money. And if they did take the money, it would be because they finally accepted him as number 2. So the money is just an insurance policy, if you would, to make Jin, to help solidify this notion that they in fact trust him. And that was fascinating. And how Mueller, he was really pissed about that, about the money involved. So Jin all of a sudden does, he does something else. He thinks, or I'm sorry, reverse that. He talks without thinking, and he winds up saying, okay, fine, so how about we do the Noel Foundation? Now, this is also interesting. Apparently somewhere in the human world, well, I can't say human world, but the current world, the world that is in the middle of Lake Mobius, there is this organization, alright? And you know what? Fuck it. Let me make it easy on myself. I'm gonna read to you verbatim. Fuck it. Why not? Let's make it easy on myself. I'm lazy. Let me read it for you. So, the Noel Foundation, mutual aid for the families of fallen soldiers, financial aid, spiritual guidance, unemployment services, education, and child care support is guaranteed to the surviving family members of soldiers that have fallen in the line of duty. A soldier named Noel began to provide guidance and life assistance to one-way people, child soldiers, refugees, the impoverished, and those that were in need or at their limit. It all began with money that was deposited into his personal account by fellow soldiers. Nowadays, this miracle account relies on a more specialized kind of deposit from so-called third-generation accounts. And, of course, third generation being the grandchild. You have the grandfather, you have the father, grandchild. And that's why if Jim makes an account, it'll be considered a grandchild account. And Mueller would be considered a grandfather account. So Mueller will basically be able to command Jin Freaks, because if he does make an account, that means that on paper he's a soldier. So that's some weird shit right there. How does the number 2 guy, technically in this sense the number 1 guy, since Beyond is captured by the Hunter Association, how does your technical leader take orders from fucking Mueller? Like that's some weird, how does that roll? But it rolled. Alright? Like imagine cavemen, they made a square wheel and it's not supposed to roll, but it rolled. It's like, how? Like, what happened there? So, it worked? Fuck it. So, that may have some conflict, or it may actually be beneficial when it comes to Jin being more accepted by the group. Because you have, even though he's number 2, when it comes to combat purposes, Mueller is the one who runs the show. Fascinating. Fascinating. Alright, fine. Alright, Legolas, not bad. Not bad, Legolas. Clearly, the Lord of the Rings did you good. Obviously, duh. So, finally, the last part of the chapter. And, again, I think this really does showcase not only the intelligence of Jin Freaks, but also just how powerful he is. He's a freak. Alright? He lives up to his last name, Freaks. Oh my god. When they were being attacked, first of all, this was all staged. Jin knew that this shit was all staged based on one main thing. The fact that when it came to the guy with the mohawk, he didn't give them an option to leave. He only gave them an option to be executed. Jin apparently realized that. Like, that was the icing on the cake, pretty much. And there were hints here and there. And, like, he does make fun of Mueller. Like, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. Like, yeah, he punks Mueller. He punks him. Like, that was some lame-ass shit right there. Like, right here, yeah. So, Mueller thinks that his acting was good. And then Jin, he mimics him like, I've never not hated you jerks, I believe it was. And he's just punking him. And Mueller's like, yo, I really want to put a bullet between your eyes. Like, that's... yo, he's straight up punking. Like, come on. Like, that's some whack sauce acting right there. But here's the thing. Jin is able to mimic Leorio. And, like, I'm pretty sure he actually expanded. That's what I think really got me. Because as far as we know, Leorio can't do what Jin did in this chapter. Which means that Jin took Leorio's foundation abilities and he emulated them. He mimicked them. And he expanded upon them. Bro, like, dude, hold on. He punches the ground and he makes, like, they look like splashes of Nen at first, but I think now they're more sparks. I'm not too sure. But regardless, he does that. And, like, Nen streams go under the ground and they actually target the guys who are walking in the basement following them. Following them being Pariston and Jin. And he knocks out these dudes. And then apparently he touches the wall and he's able to send his Nen through the wall like a ripple. And he realized that Leorio probably knows this as well, given training in, I forgot what it was called, palpation, where, I forgot the exact name, but it's when you examine a body, whether it be alive or dead, with your hands, and tapping. And pretty much, he's able to do that in this case, along with Nen, and send ripples through the wall. Actually, it's a much more effective means of locating the enemy as opposed to using N. And he's able to locate two guys that were on the other side of the wall, and he sends the Nen shockwave right through the wall, as if Leorio were to do the same thing when it came to destroying tumors and other ailments within the body that can't be reached by scalpel. He's a monster. And he was able to deduce all of this just by being hit by Leorio's attack once. Let me say that one more time. He was able to deduce all of this just by being hit by Leorio's attack once. And he was able to completely imitate Leorio's skills and probably expanded upon them. And after it's all said and done, he's like, yeah, they probably left because the mission was complete. Because you had this thing staged to see my abilities. Alright, tough luck for you. But what I'm doing right now is nothing more than natural talent. I'm way better than this shit. So if you want to see my abilities, you come at me personally, Pariston. You come at me personally. And Jin, hands in pockets, walks out of the basement, and Pariston in the corner give him the evil eye, like, menacing, 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 menacing. So I'm like, yo, like, Jin, like, that's pretty badass. And Jin also tells Mueller in the chapter, one of the main reasons why I want to be number 2, I can't let Pariston scheme. I can't let his schemes continue. I just can't. I actually want to help Beyond more so than Pariston. And Pariston's schemes are going to wind up biting guys in the ass. Because he'll do things for the sake of fun, and his fun is fucked up. So, and he's not wrong about that. He had this entire thing staged. This whole thing was staged by Pariston just to see Jin's abilities. And Jin knew that shit. Very impressive. So I'm done. Overall. The chapter. I think it's a great chapter. Alright, I think it's a great chapter because you have a lot of character development for Jin, for Mueller. You get story progression because you find out more about the guys who are going on this trip. And like this stone wall group and like this golem guy with the soldiers and how these soldiers work in cohesion very well. How most of the soldiers are there for cover fire, snipers, artillery, and how these guys, they were able to escape this civil war in this city in the country called Lubo, and how they had no casualties, 0 casualties, very impressive. And at the same time, you have Jin. He showcases his natural talent, which is horrifying in a lot of ways. I mean, honestly, like, yeah, like, him being... There are so many arguments that I see when it comes to, like, the top power structures within the world of Hunter x Hunter so far. Meaning the Chimera Ants, when they were alive, obviously. Meaning the Zodiac. Meaning the Zoldyx and the Phantom Troop. And where people lie from a power scheme standpoint. Like, which group is stronger than who? Like, who is the top dogs? And I think Jin beats them all. Like, I don't see why he doesn't. Like, to me, I think it's so... It's not obvious because we haven't seen, like, the max power of Zeno or Silva. We haven't seen specifically what can the Zodiacs do with their power, even though Hisoka only saw 3 of them, and among those 3, Ginta had like a level of 50 according to Hisoka. But Illumi, who is a Zoldyck member, had a level of fucking 95. So that means that Zeno and Silva should be stronger than Illumi. So that means that they're probably near 100. They may even supersede 100. But at the same time, Jin's just disgusting. Like, you don't... Fuck, man. Like, I don't know. Like, Jin, he's so goddamn good. He's so good. So, I don't know. We may never find out. We may never know. We may never know. But I can say is that if there was a bet, if there was like a pool, like if you had to, you know, like place your bets, I'm bet for Jin Freaks. Just saying. So I'm done. Overall, King Lightning. Chapter rating is going to be great, and I will see you guys later. Rate the video, comment, subscribe. Have a nice day.